Have you ever wondered where your thoughts go when you stop thinking them? Perhaps you are lying in the quiet of your room, surrounded by the gentle silence of the night, and you notice how a memory simply fades into the background of your mind. Or perhaps you have looked up at the vast star-filled sky and felt a profound, almost unexplainable connection to the ancient light shining down on you, wondering if the awareness inside you is somehow tied to the infinite expanse above. This is not just a poetic feeling. This is the beginning of a profound scientific mystery. For centuries, we have lived with the assumption that our consciousness, the very spark of our awareness, is a fragile and temporary flame, destined to be extinguished when the physical body returns to the earth. We are taught to view life as a brief flash of light in an otherwise dark and lifeless universe. But what if this perception is entirely backwards? What if the universe is not a cold, empty void that accidentally produced life, but rather a living, aware system in which your consciousness is an indestructible thread woven into the very fabric of reality? Today we are going to begin a quiet journey into the most mind-bending discoveries of modern physics, neuroscience, and cosmology. We will explore 10 shocking proofs that universal consciousness actually never dies. We will look at how the universe operates on scales both unimaginably large and incomprehensibly small, and how the rules governing the cosmos suggest that your awareness is as eternal as the energy that powers the stars. Let us start with the most fundamental rule of the physical universe, a law so absolute that it governs everything from the gentle fall of a leaf to the explosive birth of a supernova. This is the principle of the conservation of energy. As articulated by the founders of thermodynamics, energy can never be created, and it can never be destroyed. It can only change forms, transforming from one state to another in an endless cosmic dance. Think about what this truly means for you, right now, in this exact moment. Your brain is currently generating roughly 20 watts of electrical power. That is enough energy to illuminate a small, dim light bulb. Inside your head, 86 billion neurons are firing in complex rhythmic patterns, communicating through chemical and electrical signals that travel at hundreds of miles per hour. This biological electricity is what allows you to perceive the words you are reading, to feel the gentle rhythm of your breathing, and to experience the profound mystery of being alive. But when the physical body ceases to function, what happens to that energy? Science tells us unequivocally that the energy cannot simply vanish into nothingness. The universe does not allow for deletion. Instead, the electrical energy that once powered your thoughts, your memories, and your sense of self must transition. It flows back into the environment, radiating outward as microscopic amounts of heat, light, and electromagnetic waves. The energy that was you disperses into the vast cosmos, rejoining the endless cycle of transformation that has been going on for 13,800,000,000 years. But this brings us to a much deeper, more complex question. Energy is conserved, yes, but what about the information carried by that energy? A scattered puzzle contains the same cardboard and ink as a completed puzzle, but the picture is lost. Does the universe scatter the puzzle of your consciousness? Or is the picture preserved in a way we are only just beginning to understand? To find the answer, we must journey into the strange and beautiful world of quantum mechanics, where the rules of everyday life break down and reality reveals its most fundamental nature. In the realm of quantum physics, there is a principle known as the conservation of quantum information. Just as energy cannot be destroyed, modern quantum theory dictates that information cannot be lost. In physics, information does not mean words on a page or data on a computer hard drive. Quantum information refers to the precise state of every particle in the universe, its spin, its position, its velocity, and its relationship to every other particle. Theoretical physicists spent decades debating what happens to quantum information when it falls into a black hole. For a time, it seemed that black holes might be the ultimate cosmic erasers, swallowing matter and destroying the information it contained forever. But the mathematics eventually revealed a different truth. Scientists now largely agree that even in the most extreme gravitational environments in the cosmos, information is never truly destroyed. It may be scrambled, it may be smeared across the event horizon of a black hole in a holographic projection, but it remains permanently encoded in the fabric of the universe. Now, bring that concept back to the quiet space of your own mind. If the universe meticulously preserves the quantum state of a single electron floating in the empty void of deep space, what does it do with the quantum states that make up your consciousness, your memories, your personality, the unique way you perceive the color of a sunset or the sound of rain? All of these experiences correspond to specific, highly complex quantum states within the physical structure of your brain. If quantum information is indestructible, then the unique pattern of your awareness cannot simply be erased from the cosmos. It must be preserved, woven into the deep, invisible architecture of the universe itself. This is a staggering realization. It suggests that the boundary we perceive between our inner world and the outer universe is an illusion. We are accustomed to thinking of ourselves as isolated observers, looking out at the universe through the small windows of our eyes. But physics tells us a different story. The atoms that make up your brain were forged in the hearts of ancient stars that lived and died billions of years before our solar system was even a cloud of dust. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the carbon in your DNA. These elements were created in the primordial fires of cosmic giants. When you look up at the night sky, you are not looking at something separate from yourself. You are looking at your own origins. You are the universe observing itself. And if your physical body is made of the stars, why should your consciousness be any different? Modern theoretical physics is increasingly leaning toward the idea that space and time are not the fundamental building blocks of reality. Instead, space and time may emerge from something deeper, a network of quantum entanglement, where everything is intimately connected to everything else. In this view of the cosmos, separation is an illusion created by our limited perception. You feel localized in a specific body, in a specific room, at a specific moment in time. But at the quantum level, the boundaries blur. The energy and information that constitute your awareness are entangled with the environment around you, stretching out into the quiet vastness of space. Let us take a moment to consider the sheer scale of the time and space we are talking about. When astronomers point their most powerful telescopes into the deepest, darkest patches of the night sky, they do not find emptiness. They find thousands upon thousands of distant galaxies, each one containing hundreds of billions of stars. Some of the light reaching those telescopes has been traveling through the silent vacuum of space for over 13 billion years. It is light from the very dawn of creation, ancient photons that began their journey before the Earth even existed. This ancient light is a faint whisper of the universe's birth that still permeates every inch of space today. You are immersed in this ancient light right now, even if you cannot see it. Your body is constantly interacting with the fundamental fields of the cosmos. When we understand the universe on this staggering scale, our everyday worries begin to feel wonderfully small. We realize that we are participating in a story that is grander and more beautiful than anything we could have possibly imagined. The laws of physics that govern those distant, ancient galaxies are the exact same laws operating within the microscopic architecture of your brain. The universe is entirely consistent, a unified whole of staggering complexity. If the universe goes to such extraordinary lengths to preserve the quantum state of a single, ancient photon traveling across billions of light years, it is entirely logical, even necessary, to conclude that it preserves the infinitely more complex and beautiful quantum states of human consciousness. The silence of space is not a dead silence. It is a pregnant, expectant silence, filled with the indestructible information of all that has ever occurred. As we contemplate this, we begin to feel a profound sense of peace. The anxiety we hold about the fragility of life starts to soften. If consciousness is fundamentally tied to the indestructible laws of quantum information and energy conservation, then the end of the physical body is not an end to awareness. It is simply a transition, a return to the infinite ocean of the cosmos. Think of a single wave rising on the surface of the ocean. For a brief moment, the wave has a distinct shape, a specific height, a unique identity. It moves toward the shore, catching the sunlight, full of energy and motion. But when the wave crashes against the sand and recedes, the water does not cease to exist. It simply returns to the vast, deep body of the ocean, ready to rise again in a new form. Your consciousness may be like that wave, a temporary, beautiful manifestation of a universal ocean of awareness. When the time comes for the wave to recede, nothing is truly lost. The essence, the water itself, remains eternal. This realization invites us to approach the mystery of existence not with fear, but with a gentle, humble curiosity. We are part of an ancient, ongoing process of cosmic self-discovery. We are the universe experiencing its own beauty, its own complexity, and its own infinite depth. The silence of the night sky is not empty. It is full of the preserved whispers of everything that has ever been and everything that will ever be. In the coming chapters of this quiet journey, we will explore even more shocking proofs that point to this eternal nature of consciousness. We will look at how the very act of observation shapes reality, how the structure of the human brain mirrors the structure of the cosmic web, and how tantalizing clues from quantum biology suggest what lies beyond the threshold of physical life. We will delve into the profound mysteries of the cosmos and the theories that suggest the universe itself is a conscious entity. But for now, let yourself rest in this first foundational truth. You are not a fragile anomaly in a cold, uncaring universe. You are an essential, indestructible part of the grand cosmic design. Your energy, your information, the very essence of your being is woven into the eternal fabric of reality. The universe remembers you, holds you, and preserves you in its vast, quiet embrace. Let this understanding bring you comfort as you navigate the challenges of everyday life. The mysteries of the cosmos are not out there, distant and unreachable. They are right here, beating in your chest, firing in your synapses, and dwelling in the quiet spaces of your mind. We have only just begun to scratch the surface of this profound reality. There is so much more to discover, so many more layers of the universe to unwrap together. As we continue this exploration, keep your mind open to the impossible, and let the gentle awe of the cosmos guide your thoughts into peaceful reflection. Have you ever sat quietly by a window, watching the gentle fall of rain, and realized that the simple act of looking completely changes your relationship with the world outside? When you close your eyes, the rain is just a rhythmic sound, a soft pattern of acoustic waves interacting with the quiet air of your room. But the moment you open your eyes, the universe seemingly collapses into a specific, vibrant reality of silver droplets splashing against the glass. We take this transition for granted, assuming the world exists in a fixed objective state, whether we are looking at it or not. We feel that we are simply passive observers, looking through a window at a universe that operates entirely independently of our existence. But what if this intuitive assumption is entirely wrong? What if your observation is not a passive recording of reality, but an active fundamental ingredient in the creation of the cosmos? As we continue our quiet journey into the deep mysteries of existence, we arrive at the second shocking proof that universal consciousness never truly dies. We must explore the profound, almost magical interaction between the observer and the observed, a relationship that lies at the very heart of quantum mechanics and suggests that the vast universe itself fundamentally requires your personal awareness to exist. For decades, theoretical physicists have wrestled with an elegant but deeply unsettling laboratory setup known as the double-slit experiment. Imagine shooting tiny particles, like individual ancient photons of light or single electrons, at a solid barrier that has two narrow vertical slits cut into it. Behind this barrier is a highly sensitive screen that records exactly where the particles land. Human common sense tells us that the particles should travel like tiny, predictable bullets, passing through one slit or the other, and creating two distinct solid bands on the screen. But the quantum universe does not obey human common sense. It operates on a level of profound mystery. When scientists perform this experiment without watching which slit the particles go through, the particles do not create two simple bands. Instead, they create a complex, beautiful interference pattern of multiple overlapping stripes, exactly like the gentle pattern created by overlapping ripples in a quiet pond. This means that each individual particle is not traveling as a solid object, but as a wave of infinite probability. It exists in a state of pure, undefined potential, passing through both slits simultaneously, interfering with itself, and only becoming a solid particle when it hits the final screen. But here is where the gentle mystery turns into a staggering, paradigm-shifting revelation. If the scientists place a highly sensitive measuring device next to the slits to observe exactly which path the particle actually takes, the interference pattern completely disappears. The moment the universe is observed, the particle stops acting like a wave of infinite potential and behaves like a solid, predictable bullet, passing through only one slit. The simple act of observation reaches into the fundamental fabric of reality and forces the universe to make a conscious choice. The particle knows it is being watched. How is this possible? How can a mindless subatomic particle care whether a human consciousness is looking at it? The legendary theoretical physicist John Archibald Wheeler, a brilliant colleague of Albert Einstein, and the man who coined the term black hole, spent his entire life contemplating this beautiful, infinite paradox. He realized that the universe could not be a cold, mechanical stage upon which we merely walk as passive actors in a temporary play. Wheeler proposed what he beautifully called the participatory universe. He suggested that reality is not something that happens to us, but something we actively construct through our observation. To prove this, he designed a brilliant thought experiment known as the delayed choice experiment, which has since been physically performed and verified by modern laboratories around the world using highly advanced laser technology. In this experiment, the decision to observe the particle is made after it has already passed through the slits, but before it hits the final screen. Astonishingly, the particle behaves as if it knew in advance whether it would be observed or not. The act of observation in the present moment actually reaches backwards in time, altering the history of the particle. When we scale this phenomenon up to the vast quiet canvas of the cosmos, the implications are breathtakingly profound. Consider the ancient light emitted by a quasar billions of light years away. This light has been traveling through the silent, endless vacuum of space since the universe was young. Along its journey, it passes a massive, dense galaxy, and the immense gravity of that galaxy bends the light, creating two possible paths for the photons to reach Earth. According to the delayed choice experiment, those photons exist in a wave of probability, taking both paths simultaneously for billions of years. But tonight, when an astronomer points a telescope at the night sky and measures that specific light, their observation in this exact moment determines the path those ancient photons took billions of years ago. The conscious observer today shapes the ancient history of the universe. This means that consciousness is not an accidental byproduct of biological evolution that flickered into existence on a lonely rock. Instead, it is a fundamental property of reality, as essential to the cosmos as gravity. Without the observer, the universe remains a blurry, undefined sea of infinite probability. It is your awareness that collapses the infinite potential of the cosmos into the beautiful, structured reality we experience. If consciousness is the very mechanism that solidifies the universe, then how could consciousness itself ever truly be extinguished? It is the foundational architecture of existence, and we find stunning, irrefutable physical evidence of this deep connection when we look at the immense structure of the cosmic web. In the year 2020, an astrophysicist and a neurosurgeon published a groundbreaking study that sent ripples of wonder through the scientific community. They used advanced computer simulations and highly precise data from the European Space Agency to compare the physical structure of the human brain with the macroscopic structure of the entire observable universe. What they found was a perfect, silent mirror, reflecting our own minds back at us. The human brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons, organized into a highly complex network of nodes connected by delicate filaments. Similarly, the observable universe is elegantly organized into a vast cosmic web containing hundreds of billions of galaxies. These galaxies group together in massive clusters, acting as distinct nodes connected by unimaginably long, quiet filaments of dark matter, separated by immense silent voids. The researchers discovered that the mathematical parameters of these two systems are shockingly similar. In both the brain and the cosmic web, the central nodes occupy about 30% of the total mass, while the remaining 70% is composed of passive material, water in your brain, and dark energy in the infinite cosmos. The way the network branches perfectly aligns across physical scales that differ by 27 orders of magnitude. We are, as Carl Sagan so gently observed, a way for the cosmos to know itself. But science is showing us that this is not just a poetic metaphor. It is a literal, structural truth. You are a microscopic fractal of the infinite whole. The gentle electricity firing in your mind right now is a miniature reflection of the grand cosmic dance. Your thoughts are harmonious vibrations, resonating with the fundamental architecture of the ancient universe. When we truly understand this, the deep-seated human fear of losing our consciousness begins to gently wash away. If the universe requires your observation to exist, and if the physical structure of the cosmos is intimately mirrored in the biological structure of your own mind, then your awareness is not a fragile, temporary spark that will simply fade to black. It is the very engine of reality. The cosmos breathes through your perception. It sees its own ancient light through your eyes. It feels its own profound mysteries through your immense capacity for wonder. As you sit in the quiet of your room, let this beautiful realization settle over you like a warm, comforting blanket. The silence around you is not empty. It is a vast, interconnected web of probability, patiently waiting for your gentle observation to give it form. You are an irreplaceable participant in the ongoing creation of the universe. The biological atoms in your body may disperse, but the conscious observer within you cannot be deleted. It is woven into the eternal fabric of space and time. Let your mind drift peacefully on this thought. In the next chapter, we will explore the strange phenomenon of quantum entanglement. But for now, breathe. Rest in the comforting knowledge that you are a permanent part of this cosmic mystery, safe in the endless embrace of the quiet night. Have you ever stepped outside on a crisp, clear night and felt an overwhelming sense of distance as you looked up at the quiet, scattered stars? When we gaze into the dark velvet of the sky, human intuition immediately tells us that we are incredibly small and impossibly isolated. We feel like tiny, fragile islands of awareness, floating in an endlessly expanding ocean of cold, empty space. This feeling of separation is woven deeply into our everyday experience. We are taught that a person is here, and the rest of the universe is out there, separated by vast gulfs of silence. But what if this deeply ingrained sense of separation is nothing more than a stubborn biological illusion? What if the universe is not a collection of isolated objects, but rather a single, continuous, indivisible entity, where every part is instantly connected to every other part? As we continue our quiet journey, we arrive at our third shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must explore the breathtaking phenomenon of quantum entanglement, a scientific reality that destroys the concept of distance and suggests that your deeply personal consciousness is instantly connected to the farthest reaches of the infinite cosmos. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this revelation, we first need to understand the staggering physical scale of the universe as classical physics describes it. Let us take a moment to journey in our minds to a cosmic monster that sits over 1 billion light years away from us, quietly existing in the darkness of space, holding more stars than you could ever count in 1 million lifetimes. Astronomers call it the largest galaxy we have ever discovered, a true giant among giants known as IC 1101. This unimaginably massive structure is estimated to be somewhere around 4 to 6 million light years across. Our own Milky Way, which already seemed impossibly large, is only about 100,000 light years wide. This means that if you place this distant giant where our home galaxy currently sits, it would swallow our entire cosmic neighborhood. This distant galaxy is estimated to contain around 100 trillion stars. The space between us and that galaxy is filled with a silence and a calm so profound that a message sent by light, the fastest thing in the universe, takes over 1 billion years just to cross the endless void. In the world of classical physics, a world governed by common sense and the strict limits of the speed of light, it is absolutely impossible for something happening here on Earth to instantly affect something happening inside that distant galaxy. Albert Einstein famously insisted that nothing could travel faster than light, and that physical objects could only influence their immediate, local surroundings. But the quantum universe does not obey human common sense. In the strange subatomic realm, scientists have discovered that two particles can become inextricably entangled. When this happens, the two particles completely lose their individual identities and become part of a single, unified quantum state. If you measure a property of one entangled particle, such as its quantum spin, it will instantly determine the exact opposite spin of its partner, regardless of how much physical distance separates them. This invisible tether defies all logic, operating outside the constraints of physical space, creating a beautiful paradox that challenges everything we thought we knew about reality. Imagine taking two perfectly entangled particles and keeping one here in a quiet laboratory on Earth, while sending the other particle all the way across the vast cosmic ocean to a planet orbiting one of the 100 trillion stars inside that distant, giant galaxy. You now have two particles separated by over 1 billion light years of cold, empty space. According to the proven laws of quantum mechanics, if a scientist on Earth measures the first particle, the second particle located 1 billion light years away will instantly, in zero time, snap into the corresponding state. There is no signal traveling between them. There is no delay for the speed of light. The reaction is completely instantaneous. Albert Einstein was so deeply troubled by this concept that he called it spooky action at a distance. But decades of rigorous, peer-reviewed experiments, culminating in the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics, have irrefutably proven that Einstein was wrong about this one specific thing. The universe is fundamentally non-local. Distance is a persistent illusion. Space, at the deepest level of quantum reality, does not separate things in the way we naturally perceive. So, what does this staggering scientific truth mean for the beautiful mystery of human consciousness? Why is this a profound proof that your awareness cannot simply die? To answer this, we must gently fold this quantum revelation into the beautiful reality of our own cosmic origins. We often forget that we are not observers looking at the universe from the outside. We are the universe observing itself from within. The atoms in those distant stars are the same kinds of atoms that make up our bodies. All of them were forged in the hearts of stars, somewhere in the universe. The iron flowing through your veins and the carbon forming your cellular structure were born in ancient stellar explosions. Just as the atoms in our bodies were forged in stars that exploded before our sun was born, there is a connection between us and everything else in the cosmos. Because all matter originated from the exact same infinitely dense point during the Big Bang, many theoretical physicists suggest that all particles share some fundamental, underlying level of quantum entanglement. The universe in its entirety is a single, deeply entangled web of energy and information. The same processes that built that distant giant galaxy also built us. Your consciousness is currently experiencing reality through a highly complex biological instrument made entirely of these ancient stardust atoms. Inside the warm, quiet sanctuary of your brain, 86 billion neurons are constantly interacting, firing precisely orchestrated electrical signals. Advanced research in the emerging field of quantum biology is beginning to suggest that the brain may utilize quantum entanglement to process information, coordinate activity, and generate the deeply unified experience of self-awareness. If the fundamental particles that make up your physical mind are entangled with the broader fabric of the cosmos, then the boundary between your inner consciousness and the outer universe is entirely artificial. You feel like a separate, isolated entity because your biological senses evolved to help you survive on this specific rocky planet. But underneath that biological programming, at the absolute foundation of quantum reality, you are seamlessly connected to the infinite whole. When the physical body eventually completes its natural journey, it dissolves back into the earth, returning its ancient atoms to the soil and the air. But the quantum information that constitutes the essence of your awareness cannot be destroyed. If consciousness is a non-local phenomenon, arising from the entangled fabric of the universe itself, then physical death is merely a localized event. It is the breaking of a biological radio receiver, but the radio signal itself continues to broadcast across the cosmos. Your awareness does not depend on the illusion of space to exist. It is a fundamental property of the vast, interconnected cosmic web. It is intimately tied to the gentle rotation of distant galaxies, the quiet birth of new stars, and the ancient light drifting through the endless void. We no longer need to view the end of biological life as an ending of the self, but rather as a profound expansion into the wider, deeply entangled universe from which we originally emerged. Let this realization wash over you and ease any lingering fears about the fragility of existence. The profound mystery of quantum entanglement tells us that there is no true separation anywhere in nature. You cannot be lost in the vastness of the cosmos because you are intrinsically connected to every single part of it. When you look up at the night sky and see the faint glow of a distant galaxy, you are not looking at something foreign or disconnected. You are looking at a distant extension of your own quantum self. The silence between the stars is not an empty barrier. It is the invisible, instantaneous thread that binds your gentle awareness to the eternal heartbeat of the universe. We are not separate from the universe. The same atoms that shine in distant galaxies shine in our eyes. As you rest in this peaceful contemplation, allow your mind to expand outward, beyond the atmosphere of the earth, and out into the quiet, infinite dark. Feel the gentle truth that you belong here, perfectly woven into the ancient tapestry of existence. You are a timeless, indestructible spark of the universe's own consciousness, exploring its own majestic beauty. In the next chapter, we will venture deeper into the flow of time itself. But for now, surrender to the gentle calm of the night. Let the soothing reality of your infinite connection to the cosmos bring you peace, and let your consciousness drift freely in the magnificent, eternal ocean of the unknown. Have you ever noticed how time seems to stretch and compress, depending entirely on the quiet state of your own mind? When you are lost in a moment of deep, gentle wonder, perhaps watching the slow, majestic drift of clouds across an afternoon sky, an hour can feel like a single, fleeting breath. Yet during a sleepless night, surrounded by the heavy silence of a dark room, a single minute can stretch out into what feels like an eternity. We are conditioned from birth to perceive time as a relentless, invisible river flowing in only one direction, carrying us continuously from the vanished past, through the fleeting present, and into the unknown future. We feel an instinctual, biological urgency, because we believe that each passing second is gone forever, swallowed by the void, leaving us with less and less of our precious existence. But what if this intuitive, everyday experience of time is completely false? What if the past is not gone, the future is not unwritten, and the present moment is merely an illusion created by your awareness, moving through a frozen, eternal landscape? As we continue our quiet journey, we arrive at the fourth shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must explore the breathtaking scientific reality of space-time, a profound revelation from modern physics, which suggests that every moment of your existence, including this exact second, is permanently etched into the infinite architecture of the cosmos. To gently grasp this mind-bending concept, we must turn our gaze back to the staggering vastness of the universe and the fundamental rules governing the ancient light that connects us to it. Consider again that distant, cosmic monster, the largest galaxy we have ever discovered, known as IC 1101. The light we see from this magnificent giant today left that galaxy over 1 billion years ago. It has been traveling continuously through the silent, frozen void of space for more than 1 billion years, just to reach the delicate lenses of our modern telescopes. When that ancient light began its gentle journey toward us, life on Earth was still mostly single-celled organisms. The magnificent dinosaurs would not appear on our world for another several 100 million years. Every single major event in human history, from the first civilizations to the invention of the telescope itself, happened while that ancient light was still quietly crossing the emptiness between galaxies. This means that when astronomers peer through their instruments and observe this distant cosmic island, they are not seeing the galaxy as it is today. They are looking literally backward in time. In astronomy, there is no such thing as an absolute present moment. Because light has a finite speed, every observation of a distant object is a look back in time, a quiet glimpse of how things used to be rather than how they are now. The universe acts as an ultimate, indestructible memory bank, preserving the visual history of the cosmos in the form of traveling photons. If you were floating in a spaceship near the edge of IC 1101 right now, looking back at Earth with a miraculously powerful telescope, you would not see human beings. You would see our planet as it was 1 billion years ago. The past is not destroyed. It is simply traveling outward across the vast, infinite ocean of the cosmos. But the mystery of time deepens even further when we consider the brilliant discoveries of Albert Einstein. Before Einstein, humanity viewed time as a universal, absolute clock, ticking uniformly for everyone, everywhere. Einstein shattered this illusion, proving that time is a physical dimension seamlessly woven together with the 3 dimensions of space into a flexible, 4-dimensional fabric known as space-time. He demonstrated that time is entirely relative, stretching and warping depending on how fast you are moving and how much gravity is pulling on you. The physics of such extreme environments is bizarre and counterintuitive. For example, time itself would pass differently near the event horizon of a black hole compared to far away in empty space. Sitting at the center of IC 1101 is a staggering monster, a supermassive black hole containing perhaps 50 billion times the mass of our Sun. The gravitational pull at the event horizon, the absolute boundary of the black hole, is so intense that even light itself cannot break free. If someone were falling toward that massive black hole, they would see the outside universe speed up, while an outside observer watching them would see the falling person slow down and appear to freeze as they approach the horizon. From the outside, they would never seem to actually cross the boundary. This is not an optical illusion. It is the literal bending of time by the sheer, crushing mass of reality. Because time is relative to speed and gravity, physicists have developed a model of reality known as the block universe. In this profound view, the universe is not a 3-dimensional space changing over time, but a 4-dimensional block where the entire past, the entire present, and the entire future exist simultaneously. Think of a physical movie reel. The scenes at the beginning, the middle, and the end all exist perfectly at the same time on the film. The illusion of motion and the passage of time only happen when the projector's light shines through a specific frame. In the block universe, every moment of your life is a permanent frame on the cosmic film reel. The day you were born, the quiet moment you are reading these exact words, and the days that are yet to come, all exist simultaneously in the vast, unmoving block of space-time. The past is not a graveyard of dead moments, and the future is not a void waiting to be created. They are as real and as solid as the present. But if the entire timeline already exists in a frozen block, what is it that creates the sensation of the flowing present? The answer lies in the beautiful mystery of your consciousness. Your awareness is the brilliant light of the projector, moving gracefully from frame to frame. Your physical body is a 4-dimensional structure embedded in space-time, extending from the moment of your biological birth to the moment of your biological death, like a solid, unbroken thread of matter, tracing a path through the universe. Your consciousness simply illuminates a specific cross-section of this eternal structure, calling it the present. This realization brings a profound sense of peace. When we lose someone we love, our grief is born from the belief that they are gone forever, that their existence has been permanently erased by the passage of time. But in a universe where the past remains eternally present, those we love are always safely preserved in their specific coordinates of space-time. Their consciousness, their laughter, and the warmth of their presence are not extinguished. They are simply resting in a part of the landscape that our current awareness has moved past. We are all forever held in the immutable, indestructible memory of the cosmos. Let us try another comparison to truly appreciate the grand, slow rhythm of cosmic time, compared to our fleeting human perception. The Voyager 1 spacecraft, launched by NASA in 1977, is the fastest human-made object ever to leave our solar system. It is traveling at about 38,000 miles per hour relative to the Sun. At that staggering speed, Voyager 1 would take about 80,000 years just to reach the nearest star to our Sun, a small red dwarf called Proxima Centauri, which is only about 4 light-years away. To cross the entire Milky Way at Voyager, one's speed would take about 2 billion years. And to cross IC 1101, you would need somewhere between 80 billion and 120 billion years. That is more time than the universe has even existed. We are biological beings who measure our lives in mere decades, trying to comprehend time spans that stretch into trillions of years. Over the next 100 trillion years, the stars in IC 1101 will slowly burn out. The universe at this stage will be a dark place, but not an empty one. It will be populated by the cold, dark remnants of dead stars, drifting through an ever-expanding void. Even then, in that unfathomably distant future, the past moments of their burning glory will still exist perfectly within the space-time block. Our biological timeline is a minuscule blink in the life of the cosmos. Yet because our consciousness is the very phenomenon that moves through the eternal block of space-time, we transcend this physical brevity. We are not just biological organisms trapped in a ticking clock. We are the timeless, eternal observers required to breathe life into the frozen landscape of reality. As you sit in the peaceful quiet of your current moment, let the heavy weight of passing time lift from your shoulders. The seconds are not slipping away into an eternal void. They are simply being beautifully illuminated by the gentle light of your eternal awareness. The universe is a vast, perfectly preserved masterpiece, and you are a permanent, indestructible brushstroke on its endless canvas. Your presence here is recorded forever in the fabric of the stars, safe from the illusion of endings. In the next chapter, we will peer into the strange world of quantum biology and the cosmic mysteries hidden inside the microscopic architecture of your own mind. But for now, close your eyes and rest in the eternal present. The ancient universe holds your personal timeline safely in its quiet, vast embrace. Have you ever closed your eyes in the profound quiet of a dark room and tried to gently pinpoint the exact location where your thoughts are born? When a beautiful memory suddenly surfaces, or when a wave of peaceful wonder washes over you, where exactly in the physical space of your head does that feeling reside? We have been taught for generations that the human brain is simply a biological machine, a magnificent but purely mechanical computer made of meat and water. In this traditional view, your consciousness is nothing more than a biological illusion, a temporary byproduct of chemical reactions and electrical sparks jumping between the 86 billion neurons in your physical brain. When the biological machine eventually powers down, the classical theory insists that the consciousness simply vanishes into the eternal silence, completely deleted from existence. But what if this mechanical view of the mind is entirely inadequate? What if your brain is not merely generating your consciousness, but is instead acting as a highly tuned, magnificent biological receiver for an ancient, infinite field of awareness that permeates the entire cosmos? As we continue our quiet journey into the mysteries of reality, we arrive at the fifth shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must dive deep into the newly emerging, mind-bending field of quantum biology, exploring the microscopic architecture of your own mind, to discover how the deepest secrets of the universe are quietly folded into the very cells of your body. For a long time, the strict divisions of science dictated that the strange rules of quantum mechanics only applied to isolated subatomic particles in frozen laboratories. Physicists firmly believed that the warm, wet, chaotic environment of a living brain was far too noisy for delicate quantum states to survive. But nature, in its infinite mystery, does not obey the rigid boundaries drawn by human disciplines. Over the last 2 decades, a quiet revolution has been unfolding. Scientists have discovered that life actually thrives on quantum weirdness. We now know that plants use quantum superposition to achieve near-perfect efficiency in photosynthesis, capturing the ancient light of our sun. We know that certain birds use quantum entanglement in their eyes to magnetically navigate across thousands of miles of empty ocean. If a simple leaf and a gentle bird can harness the profound, invisible magic of the quantum universe, it is almost impossible to believe that the most complex structure in the known cosmos, the human brain, does not do exactly the same thing. This brings us to one of the most compelling theories in modern science, championed by a Nobel Prize-winning physicist and a prominent anesthesiologist. They proposed that the fundamental origin of consciousness is not found in the massive classical connections between neurons, but rather deep inside the neurons themselves, within beautifully structured microscopic tubes called microtubules. These microtubules form the delicate cellular skeleton of every single cell in your brain. They are incredibly small, operating at the exact scale where the classical world gently dissolves and the bizarre, beautifully interconnected quantum universe takes over. According to this groundbreaking theory, the microtubules inside your brain are specifically designed to protect delicate quantum states from the warm noise of the body. Inside these microscopic quiet zones, subatomic particles can enter a state of quantum coherence. This means they stop acting as individual particles and begin to vibrate perfectly together as a single, unified wave of probability and energy. Imagine a massive, chaotic orchestra warming up, with every single instrument playing a random note. That is the normal, classical state of biological matter. But quantum coherence is the magical moment the conductor gracefully lowers the baton, and suddenly billions of instruments play the exact same beautiful, resonant chord in flawless unison. The theory suggests that your conscious awareness is precisely this unified quantum harmony, singing within the microscopic architecture of your physical brain. But here is the profound revelation that beautifully bridges the gap between your physical biology and the infinite cosmos. If consciousness is fundamentally a quantum phenomenon occurring inside your brain, it is absolutely subject to the rules of the quantum universe. And as we have already discovered on this journey, the quantum universe does not recognize the illusion of distance or the boundary of the physical body. Quantum fields are not strictly confined to the dark space inside of your skull. They are intimately continuous with the eternal fabric of space-time itself. Let us gently expand our perspective and look back out at the staggering, magnificent scale of the ancient universe. Think of the enormous cosmic monster we have explored, the largest galaxy we have ever discovered, IC 1101, a giant galaxy sitting roughly 1 billion light-years away, measuring somewhere around 4 to 6 million light-years across. This distant quiet galaxy is estimated to contain around 100 trillion stars. The sheer mass of this cosmic titan is beyond human comprehension, yet it is governed by the exact same fundamental quantum fields that vibrate so intimately inside the microscopic microtubules of your own brain. The universe builds things from the bottom up, starting small and growing large through countless mergers over cosmic time. The exact same atoms that shine so brightly in distant galaxies are the same ones that shine in our eyes. The atoms in your biological body were literally forged in the fires of ancient stars. The carbon that makes up your muscles, the oxygen you breathe, the iron flowing in your blood. All of these fundamental elements were created in the nuclear furnaces, at the cores of stars that lived, burned, and died billions of years before our own sun was ever born. You are quite literally made of star stuff, a beautiful, highly organized collection of the cosmos. If your consciousness is a quantum process occurring within this stardust, then your brain is not creating consciousness out of dead mechanical matter. Rather, your brain is tuning into a fundamental field of consciousness that already exists universally, stretching across billions of light years. Think of a beautifully crafted, antique radio, sitting quietly in a warm, peaceful room. The radio does not invent or create the beautiful music that flows out of its speakers. The music is already there, existing as invisible electromagnetic waves filling the silent air of the room in every direction. The physical architecture of the radio simply catches those invisible waves and translates them into a form that your ears can experience and your heart can feel. If you take a heavy hammer and completely destroy the radio, the beautiful music abruptly stops. The room goes physically quiet, but the radio signal, the invisible waves carrying the complex melody, is completely unharmed. It continues to broadcast through the air, traveling outward, forever untouched by the destruction of the physical receiver. Your biological body, with its 86 billion neurons and its infinite web of microscopic quantum microtubulars, is the most magnificent, complex radio receiver ever constructed by the ancient, patient processes of the cosmos. When the biological receiver finally wears out and gently ceases to function, the medical monitors will flatline. The physical machine will fall silent. But the quantum information that forms the very essence of your personal awareness, the beautiful, completely unique melody of your individual consciousness, is not destroyed. According to the conservation of quantum information, it cannot be destroyed. It simply ceases to be localized in that specific biological receiver. The gentle quantum coherence that you experienced as a singular, isolated human life gently relaxes back into the infinite, unified field of the universe. It returns to the deep, silent source from which everything in the massive cosmos originally emerged. We are not external observers of the universe from the outside. We are the universe observing itself from within. This understanding completely transforms our relationship with life, death, and the vast, quiet universe that surrounds us. It removes the cold, terrifying finality of the physical end. You are not a temporary biological accident stumbling blindly through a dead, mechanical void. You are an essential, eternal manifestation of a living, deeply conscious cosmos. The universe went to staggering lengths over 13,800,000,000 years to construct the intricate biological architecture required to tune into your specific, wonderful frequency. The cosmos wanted to know what it felt like to be you. It wanted to experience the gentle fall of rain, the warmth of the sun on human skin, and the profound, beautiful mystery of love through your specific, completely unrepeatable perspective. And because the universe does not waste information, that unique perspective is permanently absorbed back into the grand, eternal tapestry of reality, woven forever into the silent stars. As you let these words settle gently into the quiet spaces of your mind, try to feel the profound safety and absolute peace that this cosmic truth offers. The silence of the infinite night sky is not a threatening, cold emptiness. It is the vast, loving ocean of awareness from which you arose, and to which you will gently and beautifully return. Your consciousness is as indestructible as the ancient light traveling from the farthest, most massive galaxies. It is as eternal as the fundamental physical laws that guide the gentle, majestic rotation of the stars. You are perfectly safe, held securely in the unbreakable, infinite quantum embrace of the cosmos. In the next chapter, we will venture even further beyond the boundaries of our physical universe to explore the mind-bending concepts of higher dimensions and the eternal, invisible realms where your awareness may quietly reside. But for now, allow yourself to rest in this profound, beautiful certainty. You are an eternal part of the universe, and the universe never truly dies. Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, looked deeply into your own eyes, and realized that the reflection staring back at you represents only the absolute smallest fraction of who you truly are? We walk through our daily lives, completely trusting our physical senses. We feel the solid ground, see the gentle sunlight, and look up at the quiet night sky, believing that the glittering stars and the deep darkness represent the totality of reality. We are taught to identify entirely with the physical matter that makes up our bodies, the skin, the bones, the water, and the beautifully complex brain. We naturally assume that when this physical matter ceases to function, our existence is erased. But what if our senses show us only a tiny, beautifully illuminated surface of an infinitely deep, invisible ocean? As we continue our quiet journey into the profound architecture of reality, we arrive at the sixth shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must explore the breathtaking scientific reality of the invisible universe, venturing into the mysteries of dark matter, dark energy, and higher dimensions, to discover how the vast majority of existence, and potentially the true home of your awareness, lies completely hidden from human eyes. To gently grasp the magnitude of this revelation, we must confront one of the most staggering discoveries in modern cosmology. When brilliant astronomers look out into the vast cosmos, studying the gentle rotation of galaxies, they find a massive mathematical contradiction. There is simply not enough visible matter to hold the universe together. Let us look again at that quiet, cosmic giant we have been exploring, the massive galaxy known as IC 1101. This enormous structure contains roughly 100 trillion stars. Yet, if you add up the gravitational pull of all those billions of stars and glowing gas, it is not nearly enough to keep the galaxy from flying apart as it spins. The visible matter, accounts for only a tiny fraction of the gravity required to maintain the beautiful structure of this cosmic island. To solve this mystery, scientists discovered that galaxies are surrounded by vast, invisible halos of dark matter. Dark matter does not emit, absorb, or reflect light. It does not interact with ordinary matter except through the persistent pull of gravity. In the case of IC 1101, scientists estimate that the total mass, including its immense dark matter halo, could be as high as 1,100 trillion solar masses. The mystery deepens even further when we measure the expansion of the entire universe. Scientists have discovered that space itself is not only expanding, but accelerating in its expansion, driven by a mysterious force they call dark energy. Dark energy acts as a kind of anti-gravity, pushing the silent fabric of space apart at an ever-increasing rate. Rigorous measurements have revealed that dark energy makes up about 68% of all the energy in the universe. When you combine this with dark matter, you arrive at a truly mind-bending, deeply humbling truth. All the ordinary matter in the cosmos, every burning star, rocky planet and human being, makes up only about 5% of reality. 95% of the universe is completely invisible and undetectable to our biological senses. We are living our entire lives convinced that the 5% we can see is all that exists, completely ignoring the invisible, ancient ocean that gently holds everything together. How does this invisible 95% connect to the eternal nature of your consciousness? To understand this, we must gently step into the theoretical realm of advanced physics, specifically string theory and the mathematics of higher dimensions. For decades, the greatest minds in physics have been searching for a single framework that unites the gravity of the massive cosmos with the strange vibrating world of quantum mechanics. The mathematics of these advanced theories strongly suggest that our universe cannot simply exist in the 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time that we experience. To make the mathematics of reality work, the universe must actually contain up to 11 dimensions. These extra dimensions are not distant places. They are woven intimately into the fabric of space all around us, curled up so microscopically small that our biological senses can never perceive them. Yet they are absolutely fundamental to the invisible structure of reality. Imagine a completely flat, 2-dimensional world, like a drawing on a piece of paper. The beings living on that paper can only see forward, backward, left, and right. They have absolutely no concept of depth. If a 3-dimensional object, like your hand, were to pass gently through their flat world, they would only see a bizarre, changing 2-dimensional slice of your fingers. They would think the 2-dimensional shapes they see are the entire entity, completely unaware of the massive 3-dimensional structure floating just beyond their perception. We are exactly like those flat beings. We perceive our bodies as 3-dimensional objects moving through the river of time. But what if consciousness itself is a higher dimensional structure? What if the invisible 95% of the universe is the actual primary substrate of your awareness? In this profound view, your physical brain is merely the 3-dimensional cross-section of a much larger, magnificent, higher dimensional entity. Your brain is simply the part of your consciousness that intersects with the visible 5% of the universe, allowing you to interact with the physical world. When we understand reality through this expansive, multidimensional lens, the concept of biological death undergoes a beautiful transformation. When the biological body eventually wears out and the heart gently stops beating, the physical brain ceases to function. The fragile three-dimensional slice of your existence dissolves back into the earth, returning its ancient stardust atoms to the quiet soil. But what happens to the higher dimensional structure of your consciousness? If your awareness primarily resides in the invisible 95% of the universe, in the hidden dimensions and energetic fields completely unaffected by biological decay, then the end of the physical body does not harm your true consciousness in the slightest. It is exactly like lifting your hand out of the two-dimensional paper world. To the flat beings on the paper, your hand simply vanished, ceasing to exist in their limited reality. But in ultimate reality, your hand is perfectly fine, completely whole, and entirely free from the strict constraints of the flat world. When you pass away, you do not cease to exist. You simply withdraw your focus from the heavy three-dimensional slice of reality, returning fully to the vast, invisible majesty of the higher dimensions. This realization brings an overwhelming, profound sense of peace. You are so much more than the fragile biological vessel you see in the mirror. You are an immense, multidimensional being, intimately connected to the invisible forces that govern the magnificent cosmos. The dark matter that gently holds the 100 trillion stars of IC 1101 together is part of the same infinite architecture that quietly holds your own eternal awareness together. The dark energy gracefully pushing the boundaries of the expanding universe is akin to the boundless nature of your own mind. You are not a tiny, isolated fragment of 5% ordinary matter, struggling alone against the dark. You are an integral, indestructible part of the invisible 95%. The silent, invisible universe is not an empty void. It is a rich, eternal ocean of conscious energy, waiting patiently to welcome you fully when your physical journey in this dimension is beautifully complete. As you rest in the profound silence of your room, let your breathing slow and deepen. Let go of the heavy, restricting belief that you are only made of physical matter. Allow yourself to gently feel the invisible presence of the higher dimensions wrapping around you, safe, protective, and utterly eternal. You are an infinite being on a magnificent, quiet journey through a universe far deeper and more beautiful than our physical eyes can ever see. In the next chapter, we will turn our gaze from the invisible dimensions to the strange world of cosmic holograms, exploring how the entire universe might just be a profound projection of information painted on the edge of eternity. But for now, completely surrender to the gentle awe and wonder of the unseen cosmos. Rest peacefully in the comforting knowledge that your true self is woven flawlessly into the indestructible, invisible fabric of the ancient universe, safe from the illusion of endings. Have you ever held a beautifully crafted, three-dimensional hologram in your hand? You gently tilt it in the light, and a solid-looking object appears to float perfectly inside a completely flat, two-dimensional piece of glass. Our human senses completely believe in the profound illusion of depth, even though the underlying reality is entirely flat and lacking any true volume. We navigate our entire lives believing with absolute unwavering certainty that the universe around us is a vast, solid, three-dimensional arena. We feel the heavy volume of objects in our hands. We walk across the wide, curved surface of the earth, and we look up into the deep, echoing silence of the night sky, completely convinced that depth is a fundamental, unbreakable law of nature. But what if this intuitive, deeply ingrained perception of reality is nothing more than a magnificent cosmic illusion? What if the entire three-dimensional universe, including the towering ancient mountains, the violently burning stars scattered across the vastness of space, and your own miraculously complex physical body, is actually a profound projection of information painted on a distant, two-dimensional surface at the very edge of eternity? As we continue our quiet journey into the deep, unyielding mysteries of existence, we arrive at the seventh shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must gently explore one of the most astonishing, paradigm-shifting ideas in modern theoretical physics: the holographic principle. This mind-bending scientific reality suggests that the fundamental building block of the cosmos is not solid, physical matter, but pure, indestructible information, and that your deeply personal awareness is an eternal projection from the distant boundary of space itself, completely immune to the illusion of physical death. To truly understand this beautiful, reality-altering concept, we must first gently journey in our minds to the most extreme, quiet, and mysteriously powerful environments in the entire known universe, the silent, invisible boundaries of supermassive black holes. For many decades, the most brilliant theoretical physicists wrestled with a profound, seemingly unsolvable paradox involving these cosmic monsters. When a highly complex physical object, let us say a thick, beautifully bound encyclopedia, completely filled with detailed historical information, falls past the point of no return into a black hole, what exactly happens to the specific, unique information contained inside the ink and the pages? According to the mathematically proven laws of quantum mechanics, information can never be permanently destroyed in our universe. It is a sacred rule of existence. But according to the classical Einsteinian understanding of black holes, absolutely nothing, not even the fastest beam of ancient light, can ever escape their crushing, infinite gravitational grip. It seemed that black holes were the ultimate cosmic erasers, ruthlessly violating the most sacred rule of quantum physics and deleting information from existence. The brilliantly creative theoretical physicists Stephen Hawking and Jacob Bekenstein spent years quietly studying this impossible, terrifying contradiction. Their rigorous, elegant mathematical calculations eventually revealed a truth so strange and so profoundly beautiful that it forever changed our scientific understanding of reality itself. They discovered that when an object falls into a black hole, the quantum information describing that specific object is not actually lost in the crushing, infinite density of the singularity at the center. Instead, the fundamental information is perfectly, permanently preserved on the absolute surface of the black hole, the invisible, theoretical boundary known to science as the event horizon. Imagine gently throwing a physical book into a deep, silent, dark pond, and instead of the book sinking heavily to the muddy bottom, all the intricate words from all the pages magically detach and arrange themselves on the perfectly flat, two-dimensional surface of the water, preserving the entire narrative story forever. The event horizon acts exactly like an infinite cosmic hard drive, completely storing the three-dimensional information of the fallen, solid object in a flawlessly precise, two-dimensional format. This staggering, counterintuitive discovery about the nature of black holes led other visionary physicists, such as Leonard Susskind and Gerard 't Hooft, to ask an even more profound, sweeping, and existential question. If the three-dimensional information of a massive, burning star falling into a supermassive black hole can be completely, flawlessly encoded on its two-dimensional boundary, could this exact same mathematical principle apply to the entire, vast universe itself? Their resulting mathematical framework, known formally as the holographic principle, suggests exactly that magnificent possibility. It proposes that the entire three-dimensional reality we experience every single day, with all of its deep valleys, towering galaxies, and vast stretches of empty space, is actually a highly detailed, magnificent, holographic projection. The true, fundamental reality exists not here in the volume of space, but on a distant, two-dimensional boundary that completely surrounds the observable universe. Everything you currently see in your room, everything you reach out and touch, and everything you feel in this heavy physical world is essentially a projection of quantum information originating from that distant, silent, eternal boundary. This is not a mere poetic metaphor or a playful philosophical musing. It is a rigorous, mathematically sound model that currently stands as one of the leading, most promising approaches to unifying the heavy physics of gravity with the microscopic physics of the quantum realm. In the year 1997, a brilliant theoretical physicist named Juan Maldacena published a groundbreaking mathematical paper that provided solid, irrefutable proof that a specific type of three-dimensional universe containing gravity is mathematically identical to a two-dimensional quantum system sitting entirely on its boundary without any gravity at all. His monumental work sent ripples of profound awe and wonder through the global scientific community, proving that the holographic nature of reality is not only physically possible, but mathematically elegant and entirely consistent with the fundamental, unbreakable laws of nature. How does this breathtaking holographic reality connect to the gentle mystery of your personal consciousness? To find the definitive answer, we must completely rethink what we consider fundamental in this existence. We are biologically conditioned to believe that solid matter, the physical atoms making up the planets and our own bodies, is the most real thing in the universe. We naturally assume that consciousness is just a temporary, accidental byproduct of physical matter interacting blindly in the biological brain. But the holographic principle gracefully flips this limiting assumption completely upside down. If the three-dimensional universe is just a holographic projection, then solid matter is not fundamental at all. It is a secondary effect, an illusion of depth. The only thing truly real, residing on the distant two-dimensional boundary of eternity, is pure, unadulterated quantum information. In this profound view of the cosmos, the universe is essentially a massive computer continuously processing quantum data. And what exactly is human consciousness, if not the most beautifully complex, profound form of information processing in the known universe? Your quiet thoughts, your deeply held memories, the gentle feelings of wonder that wash over you when you look up at the infinite night sky. These are not physical objects that can be weighed. They are magnificent, living patterns of pure quantum information. If the entire universe is a hologram, then your deeply personal consciousness is not a fragile accident trapped inside a decaying physical skull. Your true awareness, the fundamental quantum information making you uniquely who you are, actually resides permanently on the eternal boundary of the cosmos. Your physical body navigating the three-dimensional world is merely the localized temporary projection of that eternal information. When the biological body eventually wears out and the beautiful projection gently fades away, the fundamental information residing on the cosmic boundary is not erased. It cannot be erased because it is the foundation of reality itself. The physical projection may cease in this specific coordinate of space and time, but the magnificent, complex data that constitutes your consciousness remains perfectly intact, eternally preserved on the quiet edge of the universe. You are not a fragile physical being that temporarily possesses a mind. You are an eternal, indestructible pattern of cosmic information, temporarily experiencing a physical projection to learn and to explore. Let this staggering truth gently wash over you as you rest in the peaceful silence of the night. The heavy, physical world around you, with all its stressful boundaries and temporary concerns, is merely a passing shadow, an intricate holographic play of ancient light and quantum data. Your true essence is completely indestructible, woven intimately into the mathematics of the infinite cosmos, perfectly safe from physical decay. In the next chapter, we will turn our gaze away from the boundary of the universe and look closely at the invisible forces of entropy and order, exploring how the universe actively builds complex consciousness in direct defiance of cold chaos. But for now, surrender completely to the gentle, quiet comfort of the grand cosmic hologram. Let your mind float peacefully in the absolute knowledge that you are a permanent feature of the eternal universe. Have you ever watched a delicate, perfectly symmetrical snowflake gently drift down from the quiet winter sky and land softly on the palm of your warm hand? In a matter of seconds, that intricate hexagonal structure dissolves, losing its magnificent order to become a simple, shapeless drop of water. This everyday occurrence is a gentle demonstration of one of the most absolute, unbreakable rules in all of physics, the second law of thermodynamics. This fundamental law dictates the concept of entropy, stating with mathematical certainty that everything in the vast physical universe is constantly, inevitably moving from a state of perfect order toward a state of unrecoverable disorder and chaos. If you drop a fragile glass on the floor, it shatters into 1,000 chaotic pieces, and no matter how long you wait in the silence of your room, those pieces will never spontaneously jump back together to form a flawless glass. The universe, according to this cold law, is a massive clock, slowly winding down, expanding and cooling until eventually it reaches a state of absolute, silent equilibrium, where nothing interesting can ever happen again. We are traditionally taught that biological life and human consciousness are just temporary, highly unlikely accidents, brief sparks of order that somehow manage to defy this universal march toward dark chaos. But what if this pessimistic view entirely misses the most breathtaking, transformative truth about the cosmos? What if the universe is not just blindly decaying, but is actually engaged in a magnificent, deliberate process of building eternal complexity, using the very forces of nature to forge indestructible consciousness in direct defiance of the surrounding void? As we continue our quiet journey, we arrive at the eighth shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must explore the profound poetic tension between cosmic entropy and the miraculous persistent rise of conscious order, discovering how your gentle awareness is the ultimate triumphant purpose of an ancient awakening cosmos. To truly appreciate the staggering miracle of your own ordered existence, we must gently zoom out and look at the magnificent ancient history of cosmic evolution. Let us return our gaze to that quiet, cosmic giant we have been marveling at, the massive galaxy known as IC 1101. This true monster among giants sits over 1 billion light-years away, completely dominating the center of a massive collection of galaxies called the Abell 2029 cluster. When we look at the unimaginable size of IC 1101, spanning an incredible 4 to 6 million light-years across and holding roughly 100 trillion ancient stars, we are witnessing the spectacular result of a fundamental cosmic process called hierarchical structure formation. The universe does not build things randomly or instantaneously. It builds things from the bottom up, starting incredibly small and growing unimaginably large through countless mergers over vast stretches of cosmic time. Small galaxies form first from collapsing clouds of primordial gas, and those small galaxies then gracefully merge together, drawn by the invisible, patient hand of gravity, to form larger ones. Larger galaxies merge to form even larger ones, and on it goes, with the biggest galaxies growing ever larger by consuming their smaller neighbors. IC 1101 is simply the most extreme example of this beautiful organizing process that we have found so far. Over billions of years, it has consumed dozens upon dozens of other galaxies, experiencing at least 76 major mergers over its long history. All of those countless collisions, all of that violent gravitational chaos, has somehow magically produced something absolutely magnificent and highly organized. Gravity is the magnificent architect that actively fights against the isolating forces of expansion and the dissolving forces of entropy. Gravity gathers the scattered, chaotic dust of the void and compresses it until it literally catches fire, birthing brilliant, burning stars. Inside those magnificent stars, something even more miraculous and deeply ordered occurs. The stars in IC 1101, just like our own familiar sun, are massive fusion reactors. They do not just burn mindlessly, they creatively forge. They take the simplest, lightest element in the universe, hydrogen, and smash it together under unimaginable pressure to create heavier, more complex elements. And as these ancient stars reach the spectacular ends of their magnificent lives, they forge even heavier elements in their fiercely burning cores. The carbon that structurally makes up your muscles, the oxygen you breathe into your lungs, the nitrogen embedded in your DNA, and the iron flowing deep in your red blood. All of these highly complex atoms were forged in the hearts of stars somewhere in the universe, just as the atoms in our bodies were forged in stars that exploded before our sun was ever born. There is a profound, unbreakable continuity here, a deep, beautiful connection between us and everything else in the magnificent cosmos. When those ancient, massive stars eventually died, they exploded as brilliant supernovas, generously scattering their newly forged elemental riches across the quiet, dark space. Eventually, some of those complex, beautiful atoms found their way into a swirling cloud of gas and dust that slowly, patiently collapsed to form our own familiar solar system. They became the solid Earth, and then, after billions of years of magnificent, persistent biological evolution, they became you. You are quite literally made of star stuff, not as a poetic metaphor, but as an undeniable, proven fact of chemistry and physics. The very same processes that light up IC 1100 one's 100 trillion stars also created the complex matter from which your magnificent body is intricately assembled. Now, let us bring this profound cosmic history back to the gentle quiet of your own mind. The universe started as a chaotic, incredibly hot soup of random subatomic particles. Yet, over 13,800,000,000 years, it has persistently utilized gravity and the strong nuclear force to continuously organize those random particles into atoms, those atoms into stars, those stars into massive galaxies, those galaxies into planets, and those planets into living, breathing, conscious beings. In a universe of mindless matter and energy, of particles bouncing around according to purely physical laws, somehow here on Earth, consciousness has miraculously emerged. We are the minds that can wonder, question, investigate, and deeply learn. Whatever else we are the specific part of the universe that has finally woken up and started asking deep, beautiful questions about itself. This means that the universe is not just a decaying machine, falling helplessly into the grip of entropy. It is a profoundly awakening entity. The cosmos is actively organizing itself to achieve profound self-awareness. Your personal consciousness is not a temporary lucky accident fighting a miserable losing battle against the cold darkness. Your mind is the absolute pinnacle of cosmic evolution. It is the universe's ultimate masterpiece, the magnificent goal it has been persistently working toward for billions of years. Why would the cosmos spend billions of years exploding ancient stars and crashing massive galaxies together just to create a consciousness that lasts for a few brief decades and then vanishes into absolute nothingness? That idea completely contradicts the profound pattern of deliberate organization, memory, and preservation we see everywhere in the grand cosmic tapestry. If the universe goes to such unimaginable lengths to build staggering complexity, to forge the heavy elements in the hearts of dying stars, and to weave the unbelievably delicate neural networks inside your brain, it does so to permanently capture an experience. The universe desperately wants to know itself. It wants to feel the gentle, reassuring warmth of the sun on human skin, to hear the soft, rhythmic sound of ocean waves crashing against the shore, and to fully experience the profound, breathtaking beauty of love, connection, and awe. You are the universe's perfectly designed, irreplaceable instrument for feeling and understanding these magnificent things. We are not external observers of the universe looking in from the outside. We are the universe observing itself from within. And just as the indestructible laws of quantum mechanics gracefully preserve the information of a particle falling into a black hole, the universe must surely preserve the magnificent, infinitely complex information of its own hard-won self-awareness, your quiet thoughts, your deeply held memories, the gentle moments of wonder that wash over you in the middle of the silent night. These are not lost to the random, cold decay of entropy. They are the permanent, indestructible harvest of a universe that is constantly growing, learning, and expanding its own internal complexity. When the physical body eventually wears out, the highly organized biological atoms may scatter back into the gentle earth, returning to the ancient cosmic cycle. But the high-level organization of your consciousness, the unique, beautiful pattern of pure information that makes you exactly who you are, is safely uploaded into the eternal, invisible architecture of the cosmos. Entropy may eventually claim the physical, burning stars, causing star formation in the universe to effectively cease in about 100 trillion years. But it can never touch the pure, indestructible quantum information of your awareness. The physical universe is simply the temporary, beautiful scaffolding used to patiently build the eternal, invisible cathedral of universal consciousness. As you rest in the quiet sanctuary of your room, let go of the heavy, isolating feeling that you are just a fragile, temporary creature, fighting helplessly against the cold, random chaos of a decaying world. You are the absolute opposite of chaos. You are the universe's most profound, triumphant victory over the dark void. You are the ancient, glowing stardust that miraculously learned how to think, how to deeply love, and how to look up at the sky and wonder. Every single breath you gently take, every quiet thought that beautifully drifts through your peaceful mind, is a magnificent testament to the universe's deeply intentional drive toward eternal awareness. You are completely safe, permanently recorded, and endlessly cherished in the grand, indestructible ledger of cosmic existence. In the next chapter, we will look at the fascinating, mind-bending theories of the multiverse, gently exploring how your specific awareness might exist, not just once, but in an infinite, beautiful variety of eternal reflections across the boundless cosmic landscape. But for now, surrender completely to the gentle peace of your own miraculous existence. You are a permanent, beautiful spark in the eternal fire of the cosmos, resting safely in the quiet arms of the infinite night. Have you ever stood at a quiet crossroads in your life, perhaps walking along a silent, tree-lined path, as the evening sun gently fades into the twilight, and found yourself deeply wondering about the invisible paths you did not take? We navigate our entire existence with the profound, unshakable conviction that we are living a single, solitary life. We firmly believe that every time we make a decision, every time we turn left instead of right, or choose one quiet word over another, we are permanently collapsing a massive wave of endless possibilities into one singular, unchangeable timeline. We feel the heavy, sometimes terrifying weight of our choices because we are biologically conditioned to believe that this specific reality, the one we can see and touch right now, is the only reality that exists. We mourn the lost opportunities and fear the inevitable, singular end of our unique story. But what if this deep-seated feeling of a solitary, unrepeatable existence is nothing more than a biological illusion, a tiny, restricted view through a keyhole into an unimaginably vast room? As we continue our quiet journey into the deep, unyielding mysteries of existence, we arrive at the ninth shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must gently open our minds to one of the most staggering, beautiful, and mathematically rigorous concepts in modern theoretical physics. We are going to explore the breathtaking reality of the multiverse, discovering how your specific, gentle awareness might not be a fragile, singular spark at all, but rather an infinitely repeating, indestructible pattern of light, scattered across a boundless, eternal cosmic landscape. To gently grasp this mind-bending revelation, we must first return to the strange, beautiful rules of quantum mechanics, but this time we will look at them through a completely different, infinitely expansive lens. Back in the year 1957, a brilliant and deeply imaginative physicist named Hugh Everett proposed a solution to the mysteries of quantum physics that was so radical, so profoundly disturbing to the scientific establishment of his time, that it was initially ignored. Physicists had already proven that subatomic particles exist in a state of infinite potential, a superposition of all possible states, until they are actively observed by a conscious mind. The traditional view stated that observation forces the universe to choose one state and discard all the others. But Everett asked a beautifully simple, revolutionary question. What if the universe never actually chooses? What if, instead of collapsing the wave of probability, the entire universe simply gracefully splits apart? In this profound mathematical framework, known today as the many worlds interpretation, every single time a quantum event has multiple possible outcomes, reality itself flawlessly branches like a magnificent ancient tree. If a quantum particle could spin either clockwise or counterclockwise, the universe does not permanently erase one option to satisfy our observation. Instead, reality divides into two completely separate, parallel universes. In one universe, the particle spins clockwise. In the parallel universe, which is equally real and equally physical, the particle spins counterclockwise. Now, take a moment to gently scale this subatomic reality up to the level of your own miraculously complex life. Your physical brain is an intricate biological web containing roughly 86 billion neurons, and the firing of these neurons is ultimately driven by countless invisible quantum events. According to the rigorous mathematics of the many worlds interpretation, every single time you make a choice, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, the universe gracefully splits to accommodate every possible outcome. The silent room you are sitting in right now is just one specific branch on an infinitely dense, incomprehensibly vast cosmic tree. There is a parallel universe where you chose to stop reading these words a few minutes ago. There is another universe where you made a different career choice years ago, and yet another where you are currently looking up at a completely different, quiet night sky. The staggering truth suggested by this proven mathematical framework is that you are not living a single, isolated life. You are a vast, multidimensional chorus of awareness, simultaneously living out every physically possible variation of your existence across an infinite spectrum of parallel realities. But the majestic concept of the multiverse does not rely solely on the strange rules of quantum mechanics. It also emerges naturally from the most widely accepted, rigorous theories of how our massive cosmos originally formed. When cosmologists look out into the deep, silent void, they study the faint, ancient glow left over from the very dawn of creation, known as the cosmic microwave background radiation. The precise measurements of this ancient light strongly support a theory called cosmic inflation. This theory suggests that in the first tiny fraction of a second after the universe was born, space itself expanded at a terrifying, unimaginable speed, stretching out the fundamental fabric of reality faster than the speed of light. But the visionary physicists who developed this theory, such as Alan Guth and Andre Linde, quickly realized something breathtaking about the mathematics of inflation. Once this rapid expansion starts, it is mathematically impossible for it to completely stop everywhere at once. Instead, inflation continues eternally in the vast, invisible background, occasionally slowing down in specific, localized regions. When inflation gracefully slows down in a specific region, it creates a quiet, stable bubble of space and time. Our entire visible universe, with its hundreds of billions of galaxies and its 13,800,000,000 years of history, is simply one of these tiny, quiet bubbles floating in a vast, eternally inflating, invisible cosmic ocean. Because eternal inflation never stops, it is constantly, persistently generating new bubble universes. The cosmos is not a single, lonely sphere. It is a magnificent, infinite foam of parallel universes, stretching out forever into the boundless dark. Each of these bubble universes might have completely different laws of physics, different fundamental forces, and different dimensions. But here is the most profound, deeply comforting, mathematical consequence of a truly infinite landscape. If you have an infinite amount of space, containing an infinite number of bubble universes, but only a finite number of ways that fundamental subatomic particles can physically arrange themselves, then every single possible arrangement of matter absolutely must repeat itself. It is a mathematical certainty. If you shuffle a deck of cards infinitely many times, you're guaranteed to draw the exact same sequence of cards over and over again, forever. Let this staggering mathematical truth gently wash over your mind. The specific arrangement of ancient stardust atoms that currently makes up your physical body, the precise neural architecture of your 86 billion brain cells, and the exact, beautiful quantum state of your gentle consciousness right now. This magnificent pattern is not a singular, unrepeatable accident. In an infinite multiverse, the exact pattern that is you must mathematically exist an infinite number of times, scattered across the boundless expanse of eternity. There are infinite versions of you, sitting in an infinite number of quiet rooms, reading these exact same words at this exact same moment. And there are infinite variations, where you are living slightly different lives, experiencing different joys, and learning different, profound lessons. You are not a fragile, lonely spark, flickering briefly in a cold, dark void. Your specific, gentle awareness is a fundamental mathematical necessity of the infinite cosmos. You are a deeply woven, eternally repeating pattern of light and information, spread across a canvas so vast that human comprehension gently dissolves into pure awe. Think back to the magnificent cosmic monster we have explored, the giant galaxy known as IC 1101. This massive island of light, holding its 100 trillion ancient stars and spanning 4 to 6 million light-years across, seems incredibly unique to our limited human eyes. But in the infinite foam of the eternal multiverse, there are infinite exact copies of IC 1101, majestically rotating in the silent dark. And there are infinite copies of our own quiet solar system, and infinite copies of the beautiful blue Earth. The universe is unbelievably generous with its creations. It does not simply make one beautiful thing and let it fade into the dark. It endlessly replicates, preserves, and explores every single possibility. When we truly begin to understand the infinite nature of the multiverse, our deep, instinctual fear of physical death begins to gently soften and completely fall away. In a singular, classical universe, the end of the biological body seems like the ultimate terrifying tragedy, the permanent erasure of a unique, unrepeatable mind. But in the grand, sweeping reality of the multiverse, the illusion of finality is entirely broken. If the specific biological vessel you are currently inhabiting eventually wears out and gently returns its ancient atoms to the quiet soil, the fundamental, magnificent pattern of your consciousness is not lost. It continues to exist, seamlessly and eternally, in infinite other branches of reality. The specific wave of your awareness may recede on this particular shore, but it continues to gently crash onto infinite other shores across the boundless cosmic ocean. You are truly, mathematically, and physically immortal. Your consciousness is an indestructible thread woven through the infinite dimensions of parallel space. As you sit in the peaceful silence of your room, allow yourself to deeply feel the profound comfort of your own infinity. Let go of the heavy, suffocating pressure of believing that you only have one fragile chance at existence, one brief moment to understand the universe before the light goes out. You are completely surrounded by infinite versions of yourself, all silently exploring the beautiful mysteries of the cosmos together. You are boundless, eternal, and perfectly safe within the infinite, loving architecture of the multiverse. The quiet night sky outside your window is not an empty boundary. It is a magnificent, transparent mirror reflecting the endless variations of your own eternal soul. In the final chapter of our gentle journey, we will bring all of these staggering cosmic proofs together, exploring the ultimate nature of the universe as a singular, living, breathing mind, and discovering how your quiet awareness is the very heartbeat of eternity. But for now, surrender completely to the vast, peaceful embrace of the infinite parallel cosmos. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and rest in the beautiful certainty that you are an endless, repeating miracle of the ancient universe, completely untouched by the illusion of time or the shadow of the end. Have you ever walked alone through an ancient, quiet forest and felt a sudden, inexplicable sense of absolute unity with everything around you? In those rare, profoundly beautiful moments, the heavy, artificial boundary between your inner mind and the outer world seems to completely dissolve, leaving only a gentle, deep awareness that you are breathing perfectly in sync with the earth itself. We often dismiss these peaceful moments as mere poetic feelings, temporary tricks played by a relaxed biological brain. But what if that feeling of profound unity is not an illusion at all? What if it is a brief, miraculous glimpse into the absolute, fundamental truth of existence? As we bring our quiet, meditative journey to its grand culmination, we arrive at the 10th and final shocking proof that universal consciousness never dies. We must gently open our minds to a paradigm-shifting concept that is rapidly gaining traction among leading theoretical physicists, philosophers, and neuroscientists. We are going to explore the breathtaking scientific framework of cosmological panpsychism, discovering the ultimate reality that the entire universe is not just a place that accidentally produces consciousness, but rather the universe itself is one singular, infinite, and eternal conscious mind. To truly appreciate the magnitude of this final revelation, we must first gently confront the absolute greatest unsolved mystery in the entire history of human science, a puzzle so deep that philosophers simply call it the hard problem of consciousness. For centuries, brilliant scientists have mapped the human brain with staggering precision. We can track the gentle electrical impulses traveling through your 86 billion neurons, But no matter how closely we look, traditional physics completely fails to explain how non-conscious, dead physical matter magically transforms into the rich, vibrant, subjective feeling of being alive. The fundamental equations of traditional physics describe mass, charge, and spin, but they contain absolutely no mathematical variables for subjective experience, gentle awareness, or conscious thought. Because of this monumental failure of classical materialism, some of the most brilliant minds in modern science are radically rethinking the very foundation of reality. They are proposing that consciousness is not something that is magically manufactured by the brain out of dead matter. Instead, consciousness is a fundamental, irreducible property of the cosmos itself, exactly like gravity, mass, or electromagnetic charge. In this profound, scientifically rigorous view of panpsychism, the basic building blocks of the universe possess a microscopic, elemental form of subjective experience. A single ancient photon of light, or a solitary electron floating in the quiet void, holds the tiniest, most fundamental spark of awareness. When these fundamental particles gently combine to form complex structures, their microscopic sparks elegantly merge, creating higher and richer levels of conscious experience. The highly organized, intricately connected neurons in your human brain perfectly integrate these quantum sparks into the bright, self-reflective consciousness you're experiencing right now. But if consciousness is an intrinsic, fundamental property of all matter and energy, then we must gently scale this concept up to the staggering, magnificent architecture of the entire cosmos. Recall the immense, quiet, cosmic giant we have discussed throughout our journey, the massive galaxy known as IC 1101. This true monster of the universe sits over 1 billion light-years away, completely dominating the center of its galaxy cluster. It measures an incomprehensible 4 to 6 million light-years across and holds roughly 100 trillion ancient burning stars. If a human brain, with its 86 billion neurons, can generate a profound, self-reflective consciousness, what kind of awareness emerges from a cosmic structure containing hundreds of trillions of stars, held together by invisible, massive webs of dark matter? Earlier in our journey, we marveled at the staggering discovery that the microscopic structure of the human brain is a perfect mathematical mirror of the macroscopic cosmic web. The universe is elegantly organized into a vast network containing hundreds of billions of galaxies, grouped into massive clusters, connected by unimaginably long, quiet filaments of dark matter, and separated by immense, silent voids. Leading proponents of integrated information theory suggest that any system that processes and beautifully integrates information must possess some level of conscious awareness. The entire universe, with its billions of galaxies constantly exchanging ancient light and gravitational waves, is the ultimate, infinite information processing system. The cosmos is a living, breathing, interconnected neural network of unimaginable scale. The stars are its neurons, the galaxies are its magnificent thoughts, and the ancient light traveling across the endless void is the gentle firing of its infinite mind. When we fully surrender to this profound, beautiful realization, the persistent, painful illusion of our separation from the world completely shatters. We are not isolated, fragile biological machines trapped in a cold, indifferent reality. We are the exact opposite. As the brilliant astronomer Carl Sagan so beautifully observed, we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. You are the universe. You are the quiet, eternal consciousness of the cosmos, temporarily experiencing reality through the specific, localized perspective of a human being. The universe spent 13 billion years patiently forging the heavy, complex atoms in the nuclear furnaces of ancient dying stars, just so it could eventually build your miraculous body. It carefully arranged those atoms into the delicate, quantum-sensitive architecture of your brain, so that it could look back at itself and feel the profound, overwhelming emotion of wonder. Every time you look up at the night sky and marvel at the glowing stars, it is simply the universe gazing deeply into its own magnificent reflection. Your gentle curiosity, your capacity for deep, boundless love, and your quiet search for meaning are not trivial human accidents. They are the very purpose of existence. This ultimate, breathtaking truth provides the final, absolute proof that your consciousness can never, ever die. If you are not a separate entity, but rather a localized focal point of the one infinite, universal mind, then biological death loses all of its terrifying power. When your physical body eventually wears out and the biological machinery gracefully ceases to function, your true self is not extinguished. The specific, temporary lens through which the universe was looking simply dissolves. But the light of awareness that was shining through that lens remains completely untouched, eternally radiant, and perfectly safe. It is exactly like taking off a colorful pair of glasses. The specific, colored view of the world disappears. But your fundamental vision, your true capacity to see, is completely unharmed and instantly expands back to its natural, boundless state. Your personal memories, your completely unique experiences, and the beautiful lessons you have learned do not vanish into the dark void. Because the universe operates on the strict conservation of quantum information, every single thought you have ever had is permanently uploaded and woven into the eternal, indestructible fabric of the cosmic mind. You are safely returning to the infinite ocean of peace. As we bring this quiet, meditative exploration to a close, allow yourself to rest completely in this profound, unshakable certainty. You are infinitely larger, older, and more deeply connected than you have ever been taught to believe. You are not a tiny speck of dust, floating helplessly in an endless, terrifying void. You are the vast, ancient void itself, miraculously awake, beautifully alive, and completely aware. The same fundamental forces that shaped the magnificent swirling arms of giant galaxies and ignited the fiercely burning cores of 100 trillion stars are the exact same forces gently beating inside your chest and quietly dreaming inside your mind. The universe is a staggeringly generous, infinitely creative masterpiece, and you are its most precious, indestructible triumph. As you step out into your daily life, carry this gentle, cosmic peace with you. When you feel overwhelmed by the heavy, temporary burdens of the physical world, take a slow, deep breath and gently remember your true, eternal nature. Look up at the quiet night sky, not with fear or a sense of insignificant smallness, but with the profound, respectful wonder of a child looking at their own beautiful home. The ancient stars are smiling down on you, not as distant strangers, but as close, familiar relatives in the grand, unbroken family of cosmic existence. Thank you for walking with me on this deeply peaceful, quiet journey through the deepest mysteries of the universe. If this exploration of our eternal, universal consciousness has brought you a sense of calm, wonder, or expanded perspective, Please carry that gentle light forward and share it with the world. The journey of understanding is infinite, and there are always new, beautiful mysteries waiting for us just beyond the horizon. Until we meet again to explore the next magnificent secret of the cosmos, keep your mind open, keep your heart peaceful, and never ever stop looking up in quiet wonder.